Hello and welcome to Discovering Beauty. I'm your host, Drew Brewer. We have a very special show today. Ordinarily, of course, we're talking to estheticians and dermatologists and plastic surgeons and that kind of thing. Today, we're going to go a little bit behind the scenes. We're talking to a fellow by the name of Neil Ducoff, who's the president and CEO of a company called Strategies. Neil, welcome to the show.
Oh, it's great to be here, Drew. Thank you for having me.
Now, you do some very interesting things. What year did you open up the Strategies office?
It was September 13th, 1993. It was a really damn nasty day when we moved in here.
Gosh, I like that. You can remember every part of that.
Yeah, it was well, 'cause I helped unload the truck and bring all the office furniture in, but, hey, it's what you do when you're a startup. But that was, September 13th, this coming September, it'll be 24 years.
So tell us exactly what do Strategies do? What do you do?
We are a business leadership coaching training company for the professional beauty industry, which includes salons, spas, day spas, med spas, destination spas, and lately we've been picking up nail salons, eyelash extension salons, and waxing salons. So it appears if whether they cut it, yank it, color it, permanently try and remove it, mess with the skin, massage, we seem to be involved in it.
I see. Okay. Now, I know that we're gonna get into this team-based pay thing that you do, which is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into all that, how long have you personally been doing this type of work?
Well, I started in the beauty industry. I went to beauty school in 1970. Grew up in New Jersey and went to Franklin Beauty School, which was a switch from college. I went to Monmouth College, which is now a university, and it was just the beauty industry is something that I kind of fell into by accident, but it's an amazing industry. I opened my first salon in 1973, opened the second one in 75, got very involved with a company called Redken, which I would assume most of your listeners will know, and started doing business classes for them, and that really fed my passion. I always, my parents had a dry cleaning business. I was 13 when they opened it, and I was always excited about entrepreneurship and what makes small business work. And the technical end of the industry was fun. I only did it for about 7 years, but I just loved being a student of business and what makes business work. I started my first coaching company in 1978. I was editor of a business-only publication called Cutter Magazine from 81 to 85. And I started Strategies in 1993 because, I kind of got away from it. I got into marketing work and stuff like that and just missed the beauty industry. So came back into it full force. We did publish, when I started Strategies, we published a monthly business magazine. It was no advertising. It was 16 pages a month. And nobody knew about the internet then. But fast forward 14 years later to 2007, and it was the internet kind of started killing print. And, whatever we were writing, we could have gotten it out there 5 minutes after we came up with the idea versus waiting for something to get proofed and laid out, printed and mailed and all that stuff. So we stopped the magazine in 2007, end of 2007, after 14 years. And I miss it. I love my little magazine, but it was like 1% of revenue, and we were really a coaching and training company, so it was time to change and focus on what we're really good at.
I'm just curious because, gosh, given your background and the different things that because it seems like each thing has just been an extension of the same thing, and you just kind of made it better. What or who inspired you?
What or who inspired me? That's an interesting question. I don't think it was any one particular individual. You know, the beauty industry, salons, spas, med spas, you know, they're primarily owned by creative people. And I have to include, you know, doctors in there. You know, they're the medical profession. I mean, they're trained to be doctors, and that whole business piece is something that I mean, there are a lot of doctors that are into med spas that run really great businesses, but there are a hell of a lot of them that they generate a lot of money, and they're still trying to figure out how to get to keep some of it. And that's very much a commonplace occurrence in salon spas, especially where the owner is a stylist or esthetician or massage therapist. You know, they know the trade, but if you put a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet in front of them, their eyes roll back in their head. They don't like confrontation. They're not systems people. And, you know, the usual line that we hear at our seminars is, well, I'm here because I got a lot of money coming in, a lot of money going out. I'd like to figure out, you know, how you get some to stay in the company when it's all said and done. So that's, I think it's more the industry than any particular individual. Although there is one individual that became a friend and always inspired me in a very different way, and that's a gentleman by the name of Jack Stack, who is CEO of a company called SRC Holding Corp, who wrote one of the top 100 business books of all time called The Great Game of Business. And he's the guy who started the whole open book management trend, which is a business approach that I very much believe in, that you can't get people to think and act like an owner if you don't get them involved in, if they don't take ownership in at least some of the members of the business. And, Jack has spoken at a number of our events, and I was actually supposed to speak at his next big conference this September, but because of an accident that I had last June, I'm just not going to be physically able to get there, so I was pretty disappointed about that. But Jack has always inspired me on business and what it really takes to run a business, and how to be able to share numbers with employees in a way that they can embrace. So if I had to attach one name, I would say Jack Stack.
Excellent. Okay. Now, in your opinion, as you almost touched on it a little bit here, so I might as well pick up on that. What is the most common salon business problem, what would you say, or beauty industry problem?
I'm going to give you the biggest problem, but it's 10% above the other next biggest problem. I mean, they're almost close, but I'll give you the biggest and I'll give you the follow-up because they're really related. Well, the biggest challenge in this type of service business is when the owner is focused on, we call it filling columns on the appointment book, meaning you hire people, service provider, their name goes on the appointment book, and it's a mad dash for that person to get booked solid, and then you can fill another column. And what happens, the standard approach is, if I can get my people to build followings, clienteles, and they get really busy, then I can hire more people and grow them. And eventually we're going to make a lot of money because all the columns on the book, all the stations, treatment rooms are all full. The problem is when you grow individuals and your whole methodology is to create loyalty between the client and the service provider, you're basically creating your own business nightmare, because when turnover occurs, if the business didn't create a relationship with the client, and the client will follow that particular individual. So there's a higher level of the game that because the industry's taken a very simplistic approach, that they really miss, that really comes back to bite them in the butt. In the industry you hear things like, oh my God, I had a walkout. Well, what's a walkout? Well, a walkout is when a couple employees get together, they think the owner's a jerk, or they're upset about something, or they don't like any change. It could be simple, silly stuff, and they decide that they're going to leave, but they start collecting names and addresses. Today they can make friends with all their customers on Facebook, and they can really, literally relocate a salon, spa, med spa business to another location and wreck the company. So that fallacy of creating loyalty to an individual rather than creating brand loyalty, and that you have a team of professionals that are available to service each and every client, and as the client's needs change, maybe service provider changes, but if the client has even been trained that if you find someone that you like, you only go back to them, and if they're not there anymore, you really didn't know anybody else, you're just going to follow. So we've seen situations where, hundreds of thousands of dollars in business, can leave a company overnight and go open up down the street, and it's devastating. And you can take an owner that, has the ranch bet on their business, and they've got debt, and they have expenses, and all of a sudden, they're doing a couple $100,000 less. And I think there was a New York salon many years ago, high profile New York salon, that had 5 people leave and take, I think, $4 or $5 million in sales.
Wow.
I mean, the bigger the operation, this is a really high profile company.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
But, whatever the numbers are, I mean, if you have a 3-person salon and or spa and somebody leaves and they take their business, your sales could drop by, 20, 25, 30%, depending on that particular individual. So that's the number one issue. And is it okay if I follow with the very close second? It's a little.
Well, actually, I want you to do that. We're going to have to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back to that because I'm very anxious to hear that, actually. But I want to remind everybody that you're listening to DCN Radio. You're listening to Discovering Beauty. Our guest today is Neil Ducoff from Strategies, and we'll be back in a moment.
Lydia's Path to Wellness welcomes you to embark upon a journey to the self-improvement of the mind and body, and also to the improvement of the quality of your financial well-being. From a young age, Lydia knew that her purpose was to help, and this became her life's work as she has become more and more passionate about attending to the overall well-being of others and to how she could be of service in finding their own healthier and wealthier life balance. In 2007, Lydia was honored by She Made It in Marin, where she was awarded the Bob and Sue Orenshaw Community Service Award for her dedication to mentoring individuals. So if you are ready to take control over your health and wellness and financial future, or for more information, please call 866-200-9745. Again, that's 866-200-9745. Or you can visit lydiaspathtowellness.com. Again, that's lydiaspath, the number 2, wellness.com. or visit Lydia's Path to Wellness on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or Twitter.
Okay, welcome back. It's me, once again, Drew Brewer, your host for Discovering Beauty. We're here talking to Neil Ducoff from Strategies. And Neil, we ended off on a very interesting note. You were just sharing with us one of the biggest challenges, and then you were going to share with us the challenge that comes second in the beauty industry. And what would that be?
Okay, the next, the next biggest challenge, and the first challenge is out there by a hair, is the compensation system. The standard approach in the beauty industry, and that would include, all the types of businesses, that I mentioned in the beginning, med spas included. It's a commission-based business because it's easy. Hey, come work for me. You're going to get 50%, 40%, 70%, which is insane, but whatever that percentage is, so I'm going to give you base pay or something, and then anything that's, equal to or double or 1.5 times your base rate, you're going to get your commission, whichever is greater. The downside for that thinking is you instantly did two things to your company. Whatever commission rate you pay, even if it's sliding scale, that they start here and if they hit certain benchmarks, they can get a better commission rate, a better commission rate. In salons, sometimes that's tied to a price increase. But the first thing, the absolutely first thing that it does is it creates a payroll percent that is a fixed percentage of gross service revenue. So when the cost of doing business goes up, and I've been an entrepreneur for, over 40 years, and I don't know about you, but it seems like every year my landlord wants to raise the rent and utilities go up, and, we know what's going on in the, health insurance and all that, but, the cost of doing business will continue to increase. And what do? You come back, I always joke, I said, listen, your payroll's too high, you're going to have to lower your commission rate, call a staff meeting and tell the staff, we need to be profitable, so I need to lower your commission rate 5%, 6%, 7%, so the company can really be profitable and healthy. And I said, you videotape that meeting, and I want to send me a copy of that, and I'm going to make some popcorn and watch it, because it'll be a real action adventure. as all the employees basically start packing up their stuff and letting all the clients know where they're going down the street. It's hard to adjust to operating cost increases because you can't cut pay. You can in some salons try and do it through product cost reductions or service charges, but if they're not financially astute, where they really manage their company with a cash flow plan and they're paying attention to their to the profit and loss statement and critical numbers and the balance sheet, and they have a cash reserve and all the other stuff. Trying to do it through product cost reductions or incremental or minor or through attrition rate commission lowering, it's not going to help. So that's the first issue. And the higher the commission rate, it seems like 50% was always the magic number. Hey, half for you, half for me, that's fair. But that doesn't apply anymore. You can't pay 50% anymore unless you own the building and you don't mind not collecting rent for your own building. There's 100 pennies on a dollar. It's going to have to even out somewhere. So that's the first thing. If the payroll is too high and you're paying commission, anything you do to change the commission rate is a pay conversion. And I haven't met any employees that get all excited when you say, hey, I need to lower your pay. And it's good for the company. You with me? It's a difficult conversation. The next thing is when you're paying commission rate, you're paying an I, me, mine based system. Commission is, if I do this, I make that. Which means I don't want my customers sitting in anybody else's chair or treatment room. I want credit for every single little thing that I do. The perception, the mental perception is I'm only paid when my hands are busy generating money. So if it's, hey, could you help out with this project? Or could you maybe help with inventory control? Or could you do training for new staff? Or, hey, could you sweep the floor? Duck something. You know, I mean, basic things. When the commission mentality gets too far out of control, it sounds like, well, I'm not paid to do that. And commission, because it's so simple that if someone brings in $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000 a week, depending on whatever service they do, and they get their percentage on that, well, what about attitude? What about teamwork? What about culture? What about cooperation? What about adhering to systems? What about follow through? What about showing up for work on time? What about attendance? And commission has no teeth in it. Because if they're late, if they have an attitude, if they're whatever those issues are, if they don't want to go to education.
It sounds like what you're talking about sounds like it could work almost in any sort of sales scenario. I mean, because I've seen that just being in like a boiler room type situation where you're a sales rep kind of thing and you're on the phone or whatever you're doing, and there's all this vicious competition and everything else, and it sounds like what you're talking about would just completely change the landscape and the feeling in that environment.
Well, we'll take this one step further. There's this whole trend in the beauty industry. I don't think it's impacting med spas, because that's a more sophisticated business model because it's medical based. You pierce the skin. There's other laws. There's requirements. It's just a more complicated. But when you're looking at salons, spas, any type of skincare, the lash business and whatnot, one of the things that comes out of this is, you're paying for the wrong performance if you don't like what's happening and you don't have any teeth in it. It's employees that work for the company that are, as you said before, they're competing against one another, and it's not about the company. It's not about what's good for the customer. It's, I'm going to squeeze clients in. I'm going to charge top dollar. I'm going to keep squeezing clients in. I don't care if they have to wait, because I don't want them to go to anybody else. So when people are talking about the delivering extraordinary customer experiences, because that's what every service business wants to do, whether you're a restaurant or any kind of service business, you want that. But to deliver an extraordinary customer service experience, how do you justify that when it's, I want more commission, I only have 8 hours in a day, I only have 2 pair of hands, so I'm going to keep squeezing customers in and trying to get through the work faster. Or some hire assistant, like in the hair end is notorious for it. We'll hire assistants, and I'm going to cut your hair, and then this one's going to blow it dry or finish it. So I'm only going to cut it, and then I'll come over and touch the hair with my finger when it's done and make the magic happen. But and I'm not being demeaning. I'm being very accurate, but it comes back to what type of company do you want to grow? What type of performance and behavior do you want? And a business needs to be profitable, and a business needs to have a fiscal responsibility, and you can't do it if you pick a percentage rate commission out of thin air and try and make all your expenses live with that. And proof of the pudding is when you have, salon spa owners that are technicians, and and in classes and seminars and speeches, I'll go, okay, how many of you would make more money if you were an employee in your own company? And they all laugh and everything, but you see this forest of hands go up, and that's scary. Oh, and I'm sorry, I was heading in a different direction, and I forgot what I was going to say, but I thought I'd put it back.
But you know what I wanted to ask, Neil, because what I think is interesting about what you're talking about is the fact that a lot of owners aren't realizing that they have it's relationship sales is what's going on out there on the floor. So guess what? They're developing a relationship with that particular stylist or whoever it might be, and there's a connection there. And what you're talking about is making that connection with the company as a whole, as opposed to just one individual. Is that correct?
Correct. And what I'm saying is, we don't teach how to pay people less. We teach how to pay people better based on their overall performance. So you have a top producer, which is how they'll refer to it, but you have someone that's bringing in insane amounts of money, but if they're paid commission, they hit a ceiling. There's only so much you can bring in with two hands and X amount of time. And when you have a pay system that is, we call it team-based pay. It's an hourly rate pay system, and then there's a team bonus. So, but hourly rate, what's the difference whether you're making $100,000 on commission or $100,000 or $200,000 on commission or a really big hourly rate? It doesn't, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But when the company can control its payroll percent, and I'll give you the number, and I have to give you the explanation. The benchmarks that we teach for payroll percent, and this is going to go for medicals, hair, skin, you name it. It just doesn't seem to change. The service payroll percent only for hands that do the work, not guest services management. That payroll percent of total revenue, service plus retail sales, has to live within 30 to 35% of gross revenue. I'm not saying 30 to 35% commission, because whenever we put it out there, I would work for 30, 35% commission. I wouldn't give an owner that much of what I bring in because they're creeps and they don't just, you get all that nonsense. But so for every $1 million in sales, you have 300 to 350,000 for payroll. And that includes if you're doing 10, 15%-ish in retail sales, which they certainly should be able to. So the conversation is, for every additional $100,000 that a team can do in revenue, there's another 30 to 35,000 in sales. So if we manage our productivity rate, we can take that additional 30, 35,000 and maybe hire someone and give raises, the balance, we can give raises to the people that really performed, maybe even including our top people that didn't bring in anymore because they're slammed. Did that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get exactly what you're talking about. I like it. It's very and it's been very effective, right? You've been preaching this particular methodology for quite a while, and it's been working for the salons that you've been working with, right?
Yeah, I mean it works to the point where we have our network of team-based pay companies that they just don't. It requires leadership. You need to be on top of your systems. This isn't commission's easy. I pay you this much and bring in the money. If you don't, I'm not going to pay you that much. But on our system, you've got to pay. You got to run it like a business. And our network of team-based pay companies just doesn't experience the traditional issues that a lot of salon spas, med spas are stuck with. They're just different. One of the pieces I was going to mention earlier is the new nemesis in the industry is booth rental and now suite. So there's Phoenix Salon Suites, and there's Salon Lofts, and there's like a whole bunch of
you're talking about like Sola and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. So where they're saying their line of poo, I'm trying to be nice, but their line of poo is you can get to keep 100% of the profit. Well, there's 100 pennies in a dollar. So be honest with them. It's not that if someone can bring in $1,000 a week or $2,000 a week, that's what you keep, because that's what they're selling. What they're saying is you get to keep 100% of the profit, but what they don't say is profit can be negative, so you get to keep the minus part too if you didn't bring in enough to cover your expenses. So they're going after the best service providers at employee-based companies with their, line of poo. and if your business is built around building clienteles for your individuals, you're setting yourself up. You're not building a sustainable business, and sometimes you got to rattle their cage in order to the owner's cage to really get them to understand what's happening, because they're terrified of suites.
Wow.
Because someone who's really busy is the best candidate to go into a suite and make it off of the clientele that they built working for an employee-based salon.
Well, aren't those types of...
Not that they didn't work hard for it, but it's where did those customers come from? They came from the brand. They came from years of hard work. That's the issue.
I gotcha. And what's interesting, though, and in fact, we have to take a break again, but what's interesting about that is that a lot of those places that we just mentioned, especially like Sola, I mean, they're just glorified landlords, and they're making all their money really just off renting the space, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's there is such an extraordinary opportunity for anyone in the beauty industry to have a salon, med spa, nail, lash, waxing, there's such an incredible opportunity if you focus on brand and if you focus on the experience and you have a team of people, a team of employees that are also focused on building and supporting and take a level of ownership, not stock, but a level of ownership and pride in the success of that company. And that can be done, but you gotta do it differently than saying, I'm gonna pay you 40%, 30%, 50%, God help us, 55, 60% of whatever you bring in. It doesn't work in 2017.
Okay.
I mean, it hasn't worked way before that either. So.
Okay, when we come back, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about retail and what your feelings are about that, and then, of course, a little bit about your philosophy on service in general and all that. But I want to remind everybody that you are listening to DCN Radio. You're listening to Discovering Beauty. I'm talking to Neil Ducoff. He is the president and CEO of a company called Strategies. We'll be back in a moment.
Say enough to acne, rosacea, lines and wrinkles, and look and feel great again. Hi, I'm Jim Knut Larsen, President and CEO of NewTek, with information you need to know. For the first time, NewTek is making available to you its oxygen plasma, the miracle substance used by skincare professionals worldwide. Listen to what Anne had to say.
Within 3 weeks from the time I started using the oxygen plasma, all of the bumps and pimples on my face were gone. My skin has not looked this clear for years.
Change your life. Call now and NewTek will give you a $30 discount on oxygen plasma and a free skin analysis at a certified salon, spa, or clinic near you. That's a $90 value free just by calling now. You have my personal guarantee on it.
Call now, 888-411-4242, 888-411-4242, 888-411-4242, or go to newtek.com, KNUTEK.com.
Okay, we're back. You're listening to Discovering Beauty. I'm your host, Drew Brewer. We're talking to Neil Ducoff. He is the president and CEO of a company called Strategies. When we left Neil, we were talking about a lot of good stuff in this whole team-based pay that you have going on as opposed to commission, which is very interesting too. What are your feelings about retail? Because I noticed when I was reading the white paper about team-based pay, you allude to that a lot of the salons and day spas can increase their retail. How do they go about that with your system?
Okay, well, this spins further from or off of what I already stated, that when retail began in seriousness in the professional beauty industry, I mean, on the hair end, it goes back to the early 70s when Sesame did this amazing haircut, and it wasn't teased and done on curlers, and it created this whole, wash and wear hair, the haircut blow dry, that was perfect for the baby boom generation because the baby boomers didn't want to go to the beauty parlor, beauty shop that mom was going to. So the weekly visit turned to the 4 to 6 week visit, and companies like Redken and all the other major manufacturers, they said, wow, we have a market now for product. But they went and used the same commission philosophy. Pay them 10% commission, maybe a little bit more, of whatever they sell in retail. But you're talking to creative people. That some are really good at saying, here's what you need, this is what I recommend, we have it right over here, would you like to take it with you? And then if you use the 80-20 rule, and I hope it's there are at least 20% out there that are really into recommending product. I hope there's at least that. But if you take the 80-20 rule, if you got 80% of the employees that go, oh my God, I get pains in my gut when I have to recommend something. I'm not a salesman. I feel like I'm being pushy. This is what I've heard for 40 years. And they don't care if they get 10%. So they opt out of the retail piece, and there isn't a damn thing, because like I said before, commission has no teeth in it. There's nothing that the owner can do to get them to sell retail if they absolutely refuse to do it. They can have rules. If you don't sell 10% of your service volume in retail, you don't get anything. Okay, so what you're saying is, if I don't sell at least 10% of my service volume, I don't get anything? Yeah, I'm good with that. You have no teeth in it. And the industry average for retail sales, and there's some that are doing 25-30%. I know probably one of the more successful groups of salons out there, salon spas are the data salons. They can do, some of those do 25, some even do 30% of their gross revenue in retail. But the industry average is plus or minus 10% because the professional recommendation is not a mandatory part of the customer experience. When you get to the end of the service, here's what I did, here's when I need to see you again, better known as the pre-book. This is what I recommend for you to use between visits. I'm going to write this down, get that at the front desk, and we got shelves full of stuff out there. And the retail commission piece has, just like you said before, it can have service providers fighting over the client and who gets the credit for the service. Or I don't want you doing the color on my client. I'll let the client come back when I have time open, all that nonsense. So now they start fighting over who's getting credit for the retail. Well, front desk, guest services, they're the ones that have the best opportunity to close a retail sale, but they can't do it if they don't have the right information. And then if they do sell something, connect the dots, then you have a service provider that goes, oh, wait a minute, I didn't get my commission out of didn't sell anything for 5 years. And now you have a front desk person who gives the commission to a service provider, and they go, well, this sucks. I'm not going to sell anything. So it compounds an already bad situation. If you take the retail commission out of it, when we do pay conversion, I'll give you nobody listening to this that owns a salon, spa, med spa is prepared to do a pay conversion of team-based pay off of what I'm going to say. There's a lot you need to learn. But when we do a pay conversion, we take their last 6 months of commission pay, plus whatever they earned on retail. So if they were an extraordinary retail seller, it really helps their hourly rate. If they didn't sell diddly, then it didn't help their hourly rate. Now it's your report card, and you didn't have such a great report card. But if you want to make more money, you got to do your recommendation. You need to get that to front desk. So the retail piece is built into the team-based pay business model, where if you're not doing, we have a system that tracks recommendations going to checkout, but the recommendation needs to be part of the experience. It needs to be non-negotiable. It needs to be mandatory, and that is so far from reality as it sits now. And the big issue today is now the profession. You go and enter the name of any professional product on Amazon, and it's there. And what Amazon is doing is they're cutting deals with manufacturers saying, we will only buy the product from you, and we agree to sell it at suggested manufacturer retail, so it's the same price as in the salon. And if you don't want to do this deal, we'll go find your product somewhere, and we'll sell it whatever we can for it. So the manufacturers are all falling into place, and now the product is online. And if I was a salon owner, med spa owner, spa owner, and all that product that I have up in my business has a brand name on it, and that stuff's for sale online or because that's Pandora's box. Once that opens up, the manufacturers there's other opportunities for them out there. So there's this whole other thing happening in retail where salon spas, med spas need to play the game smarter and understand that it's a business relationship with a manufacturer, and it's not that I'm in a data salon or I'm a insert brand name here, whatever skincare line that a med spa would carry. It's not. This is the brand that we support and we make it part of our name. No, this is a brand that we purchase, use, and sell, but we're the brand. So there's this manufacturer rub that's starting to come into it that it's going to get pretty ugly. I mean, as more manufacturers jump on the Amazon bandwagon, there are a lot of very loyal salon spas, med spas that are having serious issues with it. We have some companies that we know very well who are in the private label business, and their business is booming because the owners are going, if I'm going to sell it, I want my name on it. And if Amazon wants it, I'll be happy to sell it to them, but I can't represent a product line that no longer has the professional exclusive or the professional mystique.
Yeah, because if they have the private label, then they can't go and find it on Amazon, because so that makes a lot of sense actually.
Yeah, and what's interesting is I do a thing called the Monday Morning Wake Up, and I have one coming up this Monday, the July 31st. It's a guide to owners through the retail upheaval, and I cited, you familiar with Birkenstock shoes?
Birkenstock.
Familiar with that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so there's Birkenstock shoes. Well, if you Google Birkenstock fight Amazon, the CEO of Birkenstock wrote a 5-page scathing letter to the president of Amazon saying, we pulled our shoes from your company. You are not allowed to sell our stuff on Amazon. And we put the word out to every one of our dealers that if you sell one pair of shoes to Amazon, you are done, and you are done forever, because they want to protect their brand identity. And wouldn't it be nice if companies in the professional beauty industry protected the beauty industry and their customers the way Birkenstock is?
Wow. Yeah.
It's a pretty sad. I mean, you can if you search it, the Washington Post got a copy. There's a link to the email that he sent. Side note, what's his name? He's the richest man in the world now who owns Amazon.
Yeah.
He also owns the Washington Post. Go figure.
Yeah, it starts with a B. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
I guess we should remember this. But I said there is extraordinary opportunity. I know owners are terrified when they have to start thinking, oh my God, you want me to change how I pay people? No, I want you to upgrade what you do. I want you to open your mind up to a better way to do business than to feel like you're being held hostage. And that's what commission does. And that's what, oh my God, if they leave, they're going to take a piece of my business. Yes, based on the way you built your business, your current model, you created that. It's going to happen.
Wow. Okay, now I get I actually like this a lot, and like I said, you're getting some very good results from the salons and day spas that you're working with, right?
Yeah, I mean, so for this October 15, 16, we'll be doing our fourth, we call it the Team-Based Pay Conference, and we started 3 years ago, so we got our fourth one coming up. It's going to be in San Antonio at the Hyatt Hill Country, October 15, 16. But if you go to Team-Based Pay Conference, you can read all about it. But we went from 150 the first year to 200 to 250, 300 last year. We'll probably be 350, 375 in attendance this year. It'll be our third year to do the Team-Based Pay Awards, so we give awards out for Business of the Year and different categories. And we didn't expect it. We just wanted this for the Team-Based Pay community to come together. But we've been getting, 60, I think last year we had 75, 80 companies that came to the conference that were not on Team-Based Pay that wanted to come kick the furniture and find out what this thing was all about, to the point where we have to run a separate classes from them other than the general sessions, just to kind of get them up to speed. But it's not for everybody, and I hate to say that because I believe it is, but you've got to be ready to look at your business in a very different way, to understand financials, to do cash flow plans, to be methodical about performance reviews, about paying attention to critical numbers. It's a business. It sounds so cliche, but you have to run it as a business. There are 100 pennies on a dollar, and there's no reason why you can't put 10, 12, 14, maybe 15, maybe 16, depends on a number of different variables. But, pennies, bottom line net profit after the owner's paid.
Wow.
That's what business is all about. You get paid to be an employee of your own company, to be president, and then you get this other thing called profit, which is your second paycheck. You have $1 million company, you should be able to get paid $75,000, $80,000 as a salary, and you should make another, 100 and something, 90 something in net profit that you can decide to reinvest in your company or take a distribution or invest in growth, open another location. That's business. That's how business works. But most hairstylists, estheticians, massage therapists, actors, nurses that go into business that are passionate about the work don't understand the dynamics of business. And that's what we've been pounding away at for almost 24 years now with strategy. And we've been growing. I mean, I'm delighted with my company, but we've been growing, and we're still a tiny company, but we've been growing, and we're very optimistic about the future. And it seems like the more weird the beauty industry gets, the more business we get. So God bless the beauty business. There's opportunity for everyone, but you got to look at it different.
Wow, that's fantastic. We're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we're going to kind of sum all this up and ask Neil like about 2 or 3 more questions. But all this has been fascinating for me because I love the industry, and so I like what I've been hearing. I want to remind everybody once again, this is DCN Internet Radio. The show you're listening to is Discovering Beauty. We have as our guest today Neil Ducoff from Strategies, and we'll be back in a moment.
At DCN Finance and Credit, you will find information and resources on the world economy, stock markets, technology, and the best credit card solutions for any financial situation. Visit us today at finance.discovercountynetwork.com. Attention all real estate brokers, agents, lenders, and sales professionals. DCN Real Estate has the network you need to get your listings in front of the people that are looking for what you can offer. DCN Real Estate lets you stand out from the crowd by offering you exclusive access to community areas of the Discover County network. From Sacramento to Sydney, we get you the access you need to contractors, investors, buyers, sellers, and everything in between. Just go to realestate.discovercountynetwork.com or call us at 1-877-335-7779. For all the latest news regarding technology, be sure to check out DCN Tech. tech.discovercountynetwork.com. When it's time to get up and go on a trip, be sure to go to DCN Travel first. Not only is DCN Travel connected to the Discover County Network, where you can find out where the best places are to eat, play, and stay, you can also find the best deals on airfare and luxury hotel rates, so you can enjoy your stay to the fullest. DCN Travel has partnerships with all the major hotels, cruise lines, and premier vacation booking agencies. So when you are ready to travel the world, visit DCN Travel. Travel.discovercountynetwork.com.
Yeah, well, you need to come on with me, because I'm going where the fun is.
Okay, welcome back. You're listening to Discovering Beauty. I'm your host, Drew Brewer. We're talking to Neil Ducoff from a company called Strategies. And Neil, on the break, you left us with some very interesting things. And you touched on something that actually was pretty much my next question. Do you have any special trainings or programs that you have for your clients in general?
Yeah, if someone wants to get involved with us, and they like this business model that I've been describing, I would, I've been doing this for so long, I have to imagine that I've been hitting some of the pain points that a lot of entrepreneurs have. But the most important course that and how to do the conversion, and then the basic components of how do you lead and manage a team-based pay company. What are the critical numbers that you measure? And they're long days. I mean, it's 8 in the morning till 5, 6 o'clock at night, and they get homework. But it's a direction-changing, thought-changing course that, I mean, after 24 years, you get really good at presenting it. But if they go to strategy.com, which is our primary website, and click on seminars and click on incubator, they can read all about it. You know, we suggest 2 people from one location come because better 2 people listen and hear it and discuss it and go back with it than one person because things evaporate. If you want to take the furniture and you want more of a, okay, I want to learn about this, but I want to talk to a whole bunch of people who are already on this. I mean, salon spas, med spa, we'll have all of those types of businesses there. Then you come to the team-based pay conference, and it's an extraordinary 2 days, and it's very stimulating, motivating, and whatnot. And we give a piece of incubator, like, you know, we don't hold back. You know, we'll teach you how to do, you know, these are the numbers, and this is what you need to do to convert. But we also have everyone raise their right hand and swear they're not going to get back and flip the switch on their business without really learning the complete system. Because we've seen people, you know, they get all excited and they get back and they blow up their company because they didn't take the time to get all the pieces understood and in place. And then we have coaching, we have memberships, we have different levels of memberships that, you know, they're 1-year commitments, and you get your coaching and you get seminars and webinars, and depending which level you go with, you can get on-site sessions, and we'll even come to your business and do the conversion for you. We also we're actually on version 2.0, but we built our own proprietary coaching platform called the Command Center that has all spreadsheets built in and cash flow plans and project management and all the things we do to hold owners accountable. Because everyone wants the help, but then when they find out they have to do the work, it's like, oh my God, I didn't know it was going to be this. No, this is all the stuff you wanted to change your business. This is called the work you need to do. And it's not, so a lot of our work in coaching is trying to hold owners accountable. We're pretty good at it, but there's a few that we you know, we're not allowed to use thumb screws. That goes to the old days.
but you're having them roll up their sleeves a little bit. Now, Neil, after these many years, I noticed that you still are just talking so passionately about your business. What's your favorite part of your business?
I'm passionate about, I mean, I love the education and I love the coaching. My job, because I have a team of coaches and, you know, I'm traveling less, thank God I'm traveling less because of my accident last year. Just so listeners, you know, I'm a cyclist and I'm 67 years old. I rode 3,800 miles last year on my bike. I've been cycling for 10 years, and last June 7th, a van decided to jump across a stop sign and get in my path, and I hit the van, and I now have I'm the proud owner of a plate in my left hip because my hip socket got fractured. So I'm walking around on crutches, and I'm going to be fine, and I got a new bike order again. I'm going to be back on the bike. But, yeah, I have coaches that are out there that do a lot of travel and a lot of work, and they go through a couple of years of training, and we've got an extraordinary team of people.
That's kind of symbolic, isn't it? You're getting back on the horse, so to speak, getting back on the bike. That kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I think this is a personal thing that I'll share. We really try and practice everything that we teach and preach, and we know in the last, 5, 6, 7, 8 years that we've done some serious work on the company. I mean, I have a president named Bruce Horrigan who really does an extraordinary job. I know him for years. You know, my son handles marketing. You know, but I've just got a great group of people, and I mentioned Jack Stack before with open book management. I learned how to, as an entrepreneur, they could be very controlling. I had to learn how to let go of the controls to a point. And I knew my company was running very, very well, but when the accident happened and I'm in the hospital for 3 weeks, to hear my team say, hey, you got yourself to worry about right now. Everything's going to be taken care of. Don't worry about the company. And just yesterday, I got an email from Bruce telling me that we already hit our first financial benchmark for this year, which puts us way ahead of last year. And to which I emailed back. So the secret is me not being there. But, you know, it's how you approach business and how you design your company that gives you the freedom that all entrepreneurs want and the security. And I'm not that naive that something could happen to my small company that could knock it off course. I mean, that's possible for any business. But man, we really try and be an example for all of our coaching clients that when they come to a strategies class or when they're in coaching, that they see an example of what we're trying to do for them.
You know what? That actually
that's really personal.
Yeah, and that actually leads me, because we're just about out of time here, but I really want to thank you for being on the show. But before we go, one last question: if you had one word that describe your business, what would that word be?
Can I use a hyphen?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. No compromise.
Ah.
I wrote a book in 2008. It won an award in it's called the IPI Award, Independent Book Publisher Award for Business and Leadership. But the book is called No Compromise Leadership, A Higher Standard of Leadership Thinking and Behavior. I'm very proud of the book. I was like, oh my God, I won an award. But people can go online and they, search. It's on Kindle and all the other stuff, and you can get hardcover or softcover. But it's called No Compromise Leadership, and I wrote it for general business. But
hey, Jim.
Yeah, I'll be ready in about half an hour.
Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect.
So if you want to create opportunities for your people, then you've got to be no compromise when it comes to your approach to business, not dictatorial and inflexible, but compassionate and caring. But if it's about the customer experience, you've got to be no compromise. You can't be 90% there and tell everyone you're 100% there. That makes sense.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Well, Neil, I want to.
No compromise.
Well, Neil Ducoff, I want to thank you so much for being on Discovering Beauty and our show, and looking forward to actually finding out a little bit even more about you. Hopefully we can continue the dialogue on another show later on, but thank you again for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for allowing me to do my spew. I mean, it's important stuff, and I believe that anybody listening to this is going to have to look at their business through different eyes and know that there's certain choices they need to make. That's all.
Yes. Thanks again, Neil.